evening, everybody. Councilmember Ray, would you lead us, please?
Yes, let us pray. Father in heaven, we thank you once again for bringing us together in your arms around us, blessing our homes and our family. We thank you for blessing the city of Jacksonville and all we undertake to do in righteous. In the name of Jesus, we ask and pray, Lord. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Be seated. Good evening. Welcome to tonight's city council meeting. We'll go ahead and have roll call, please.
Councilmember Dietz.
Here.
Bolden. McCleary.
Here.
Sansing. Ray.
Here.
Mashburn.
Here.
Moss.
Here.
Twitty.
Here.
Kinman.
Here.
Raines.
Here.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
I have two absent, sir.
Okay, we have a quorum. We are good to go. Before you, you have your minutes from the September 7th meeting. Be familiarizing yourself with that. We'll approve them at our next scheduled meeting. But you've also got the minutes from August 17th. Entertain a motion to approve those as presented. We got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and there are none. Moving on, consent agenda. You've got that report you've had, and with you now, entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda. A motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by like sign? And there are none. Moving on down the list, general business, ordinance 1740. This was, Councilmember Raines brought this up. Councilmember, anything you want to say or?
Yes, during discussion, I did an aerial survey I'd like to talk to you guys about.
Okay. So then, at this point in time, entertain a motion to place ordinance 1740 on first reading.
I move that we place this on first reading.
Okay, motion, is there a second? Motion and a second. So, roll call.
Councilmember Dietz. McCleary. Ray.
Nay.
Mashburn.
Aye.
Moss.
Nay.
Twitty.
Nay.
Kinman.
Nay.
Raines.
Aye.
Motion fails.
Okay, that did not gain the votes needed to proceed, so that motion is failed.
Mr. Mayor, can
Yes,
I
ma'am.
have a comment? That being said, so like I said, I did an aerial study of 500 households around our city. That showed that roughly 20% of our households are out of ordinance because of the variance. Of that, most of it was those mailbox gardens. And considering the fact that we had some individuals speculating that there wouldn't be flowers higher than 8 inches, we even have coleus out there that is higher than 8 inches in our very own garden. So I think that it's a shame we are not representing roughly 2,500 households with the ordinance that is in place as of current.
Okay.
And that is a conservative number. There was a 7% variance depending on where that survey was conducted, because I did on both sides of the interstate as well as a neighborhood directly off of Main Street.
Okay. Well, that is something we can take under advisement for action in the future, but right now, that was voted down for this discussion, so.
May I ask a
Understood.
question?
Yes.
This is, I learn. I'm new kid on the block and I'm learning every day. But do we keep just adding things to the agenda time after time after time, even after it's voted no the first time? I'm just trying to learn here. So you just keep bringing it back up and we discuss it over and over and over again?
Traditionally, no. So that has not been a common practice, because once the council has voted on and voiced their opinion, made their vote, that's been what it what it has been.
Yes, and traditionally, we also have a discussion which was not conducted when this was brought to the agenda the last time.
So moving to Resolution 837, establishing the at-risk displaced community, Councilmember Raines.
Yes, so again, like last time, we did not have a discussion on this, and when it comes to our homeless community, I feel like it is worth a discussion, which is why I've brought it back to the agenda today.
Okay. So entertain a motion to place Resolution 837, or entertain a motion to read 837.
I make a motion that we read 837.
Okay, motion, second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Hey,
Roll call. Councilmember Deets. Councilmember McCleary. Reedy.
nay.
Councilmember Mashburn.
Yeah.
Councilmember Moss.
Aye.
Councilmember Twitty.
No.
Councilmember Kinman, sorry. And Councilmember Raines.
Aye.
Okay, not enough affirmative votes, so motion that resolution reading is, or continuation is failed.
Yes, and I have an additional comment for that one as well. So I think that we are doing our community a disservice, especially when it comes to our at-risk and homeless community, most of which are experiencing what they are facing because of medical-related things. We all have the ability of our health, and we do not have the ability to choose and dictate when that health no longer is with us. And so this is a shame, and we are not supporting our hospital, which is the one that accrues the most strain when it comes to individuals on the street.
All right, I do have one question with that. How are we not supporting our hospital? Or, and the hospital's a private entity that
So,
doesn't receive funding from the
like
city.
I was saying, when it comes to the homeless community, they experience a lot of life-threatening, or they're also more susceptible to violent crime and needing the hospital intervention, they which cannot pay for that, which ultimately is the burden of the hospital.
Mhm. Okay, I just wanted to clarify that because you said the city was not supporting the hospital, so that's what I was asking for, because it's not that we're not supporting the hospital.
We are indirectly not supporting.
Okay. All right.
Mr. Chair, point of order before on this. I think that when this came up at the August meeting, we heard a comment from Mr. Barry Jefferson, and I think there was a county effort that he's working on, and I thought our agreement as a council was to wait on Mr. Jefferson to come back and bring us something to bring back to the council. So I think that's where we're at on this, instead of, I guess, going through the reading. I think we all agreed there's a challenge and the problem, but I think we were waiting because there were funds that Mr. Jefferson was working on, and I think a committee. So I think that's where we need to kind of hold serve at as a council, is to wait to hear from Mr. Jefferson before we move forward.
Okay.
I mean, if this is in discussion, Chief Hibbs, I mean, you're out there, your people are out there.
Joy, I need you on your mic.
I'm sorry. What do you see that this city could do differently than what we're doing for this situation?
That's a hard question to answer, especially for us as a city. The homelessness is bad all over the country. An answer to it, that nobody, even California, who's done the most, has an answer to it. In fact, they made it worse. I don't know. To answer your question, I don't know what we can do. We don't have any resources. We don't have a shelter. There's a lot of debate back and forth. Studies will say you gotta have a shelter. I'll tell you what we have had a problem with. Other cities bringing their homeless here and dumping them off.
Yeah.
And even when they think we have a shelter, they do that. So if we had a shelter, they would definitely do that. They don't stay in a shelter all day and all night. They come outside, they wander around. Business owners then get mad, irritated, and that's not a fix to the problem. I don't know if there is a fix to the problem.
So,
The county was working, like Mr. Jefferson said, the county was working on that village, and it's not going to solve the problem. It may help some. Most of them don't want to be in a shelter like that. They want to be out. It'll only work because they usually have rules. They can't use drugs, no violence, stuff like that. If they do, they get kicked out. And so it only helps some of them. You still have a problem.
Well, and as a city our size, I mean, we don't have the resources.
No, we don't. And we don't have the funds. The city itself doesn't have the funds to do that.
And some people might not be aware that our neighboring towns have brought unsheltered people to our town and dropped them off.
We've had other towns, we've had, Uber drop them off, somebody's paying for that. I don't know who, I haven't caught them yet. And someday I will. We have identified a few. And when we say we have a shelter, even a tornado shelter, that means shelter them so they bring them here against their will sometimes. Sometimes the hospital ambulance and MIMS has brought a few of them here, and then they have nowhere, they're stuck. I see new people every day just about. I know they get dropped off around John Hardin, Walmart, Barn Hills, in that area. Most of the ones, there are some that have lived in the city 40-something years and are now homeless, and most of them around Main Street. The ones that get dropped off here get dropped off somewhere around Walmart, John Hardin. That's what I believe is happening. I just hadn't caught who's doing it.
Well,
And if I do, there's nothing I can do, it's just an ethical issue. It's not against the law.
Well, other than them sleeping at businesses and making tents at businesses, are they causing any problems?
It is, most of what I hear is the appearance. People don't like seeing it, and of course, they make a mess. I have gotten onto some of them, and now they don't make a mess, but the rest of them do. We have had drug use with some. There's no bathroom facilities, so they have to do that somewhere. That's been an issue, so it's unsanitary. There is drug use, some, and we haven't had any violence. I'll say that. I don't know of any violence that we've had from them. They're all, I would say, peaceful. And I don't think some do steal. There are some that are not from Jacksonville that have been checking door handles in neighborhoods, and we have found that problem. Most of them don't. I mean, it's a very wide range of issues there, and there's no one answer.
Councilmember Kinman, to answer part of your question there, you're asking about have there been issues or anything. I have had two business owners, both located on Main Street, who have had vandalism or damage done. One had it on video. They caught the person walking by. And then this past Tuesday, I had the second business owner approach me and say, hey, this is going on. They were breaking stuff, passing through. But Chief is right. I have, to my knowledge, no reports of any acts of violence or harassment or anything like that.
No. There may be a few isolated instances, like you, business owners, shoppers, citizens, haven't been attacked. That's what I think of when I say that. We may have had some car break-ins, some thefts, stuff like that, but for the most part, we don't have violence from it. Not like, San Francisco or something like that. I was going to say something else. I already forgot what it was. But
So, Mr. Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to clarify when I'm talking about them, I'm talking about them being victims of violence, theft, that nature. I'm not talking about them conducting violence. But I don't disagree with any of my council members. I know that this is a diverse and complex problem, and this resolution here is for us to have a committee to discuss that problem, to research that problem, and to come to a consensus on it. And despite all that the county does, despite all that the van does, that any of the shelters around the county does, we're still going to have that problem. But at the very least, we should come together on a solution.
I would say this as kind of an offer of compromise in this situation, because the council has already voted nay on that. You can still do it. As volunteers, I mean, people in the community put together a group to investigate and to do this very thing. It doesn't necessarily have to have the backing of the city or of the council, but you can still do the exact same thing and then bring those findings back. If you start putting together a solution or seeing a direct move towards a solution, bring those findings and share at that point in time. But yeah, you don't have to have it as a official city council recognized committee to do it. You could find civic leaders, other people, churches, whatever, and still do the same thing.
I agree with the mayor, and I'll say, Councilmember Raines, if you civically, any civic groups, churches, anybody that want to help, I think we're all willing to help. Nobody up here just want to say nay to our homeless or whatever, but as a group, we say something is lawfully, so we actually saying we could help, and we'll do. It's people out in this audience, I'm sure anybody in here will be willing to help, and I'm willing to help. So we get something started. It don't have to be here. It could be us as people, as humans, helping others. It don't have to be just this group, just any of us.
Okay. All right.
I'd like to say something.
Yes, ma'am.
This would just be food for thought. I looked this up because I was really interested in this right here. In Leviticus 25:35, it says, if anyone from your community, or city in our case, becomes poor and unable to support himself, then you shall help him, leading him, living with you, or as though he was a guest or a lodger. I'm a Christian, and I know that there's a lot of Christians here, and we would do whatever we had to do to help this problem. As it looks right now, I'm going to say shame on all of us because we're not doing it.
I'd also like to,
Yeah.
I'll just say this, I have spoken to a few out there because I drive by and they've got a sign and they've got a cigarette and they've got a cell phone and, you know, give them food, they throw it, what have you. We've all been through stuff like that. So some people just don't want to be helped.
I would point out there's difference between panhandling and homelessness.
Well,
And those
yeah.
guys are not homeless, most of them.
most,
And you can make a good living doing that. So, and I would add to whoever Mashburn, and my topic of the day is animal shelters and animals. We give animals a place to live and foster them. Nobody wants to put up a homeless person. The animal's a lot easier, but we're not doing anything for the others. I don't know what we can do. I don't have an answer for that, so I wish there was. I've done a lot of research back in 2018 or so, wrote a paper on it, did a lot of research. It's a big problem then, New York, and I think LA, San Francisco, they had the worst. And they caused 90% of the homelessness in America. Now it's like spread all over. And it's way worse, and I don't know why, but even California has dedicated taxes to that, $900 billion, and for a few years. They can't solve it.
Our best solution here is the faith-based community to come together, churches to organize pooling of resources to get stuff done. You don't have the red tape and handcuffs that a city municipality would have. That is the absolute best way for it to be done, is it to come through a faith-based organization. Or it doesn't even have to be faith-based. Civic, community, anything like that. But that is, if you're going to accomplish something and accomplish it quickly, that is the way to go about doing it.
I can't, no, sorry to keep talking, but if the business owners call us, we will try our best to help them out and protect them. A lot of them are scared just because of the looks of them, but we haven't had that kind of problem. if they're not from Jacksonville and they want to ride to North Little Rock, or wherever, we will give them a ride back to where they came from. We don't take them there just to drop them off and stuff, so I consider that human trafficking in a certain form. And so we don't do that, but if they want to go somewhere, it's within our range, we will take them there.
Well, I think that says our city's doing
Mhm.
something for them.
Yeah. No, sure.
All right, next item on the agenda, moving on, is resolution.
839.
839. Request to approve, hadn't gotten there yet, but all right. Entertain a motion to read 839. All in favor, say aye.
I need
Any-
a second for that motion.
Mary did.
Oh, Mary, okay, thank you.
Aye again. All in favor, say aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
2.
Okay.
Resolution 839, a resolution adopting the allocation of American Rescue Plan Act funds for the Chamber of Commerce fountain for the city of Jacksonville, Pulaski County, Arkansas.
All right, entertaining a motion to approve and adopt resolution 839 in its entirety. Have a motion. Is there a second? Motion is second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed likewise?
Nay.
Nay.
2. So, motion carries.
Can I give a little update of what we have come to on the
Go ahead.
chamber? So we had talked earlier of the year with some of the money that was given to us to beautify, clean up, and help, make the city look better, whatever. So when we first started looking into the chamber and trying to fix the fountain, we found out real quickly when I researched Cabot and Little Rock, North Little Rock, most people that I've talked to, which I talked to everybody that had a fountain, I think, but anyway, they are closing their fountains for various reasons. And so when Kevin House had decided to see what it would take to fix our fountain, it was a lot, but mainly the reason we decided not to go that route was because there was really no warranty on it. So it's kind of silly to spend that kind of money to put a fountain in. I mean, they're beautiful, but all cities are shutting them down for the same reasons that, we ran into, you can't get a warranty on it or anything. So after looking into that, we get with Chad Young and talk with Chad about, and he, did us a favor. He wrote, did a bunch of drawings for us. I brought that before the council, and they were beautiful, and I really, really wanted them, but they were really kind of out of our reach too. So trying to make that area look nice and not spending a lot of money because there's so many other needs in the city that money could be used for. What Kevin and I, Michelle Kaiser from Kaiser's, which Kevin has used many times for projects here in the city, met us out there, and so we decided it can be maintained by Parks and Recs, according to Kevin House, who's at a meeting and couldn't be here tonight. He wants to thin out some of the trees, take up all that rock, move our flags from the side to bring it to the front, and they're putting in these big, which I don't have a picture because Michelle couldn't get off for it, but they're these huge big planters. They're going to level up, layer them high and low. So it's going to be something very nice to look at. Hopefully I can bring pictures later on and let y'all see it, but it's going to be done for a whole lot less. A lot of it's in-house, and it can be maintained without, which was the purpose of the whole thing that was donated by Mr. McCoy, was not to be a hindrance to Jacksonville. And according to what Kevin and his guys think, they think it's not going to be a hindrance. It's going to be something that they can maintain easily. So, and hopefully, like I said, I'll bring some pictures when I can get them. I can't ask Chad to do me another drawing. I've already asked him twice, and I don't think it's right for me to ask him to do it again and then not pay him, because he did it as a favor for the city. So thank you.
So are we putting in a fountain?
The fountain is
Putting in
there. The
fountain.
fountain is not going to be.
I'm talking about water in the
No,
fountain.
no running water, because like I said, we can't get a warranty on it
Yeah.
more than a year, so it's kind of silly to invest in that and not have a warranty with it. So that was kind of, we moved off that at the very beginning because of that reason. We couldn't find anybody. I mean, I had plumbers calling, oh, I'll take it on. I had people that own pools and, oh, I can take it on. None of that panned out, so. And other cities, like I said, also were shutting their fountains down, so. But he's also doing uplighting as well, so it'll be something very nice and affordable, so.
Mary, just how much? Any idea?
Kevin thought 40,000 would, take care of it,
Yeah.
instead of like 120 that we were looking
We
at.
already allotted money for that.
Yeah.
anyway. But we
And
were
so-
cautious for the city's money, not spending it,
Oh,
because we
it's,
couldn't get a warranty to
Right.
do it right.
right.
So this would make it right, and we already have the funds approved, so this would stay within that, and it would have funds.
It's a lot less than what we were asking for to begin with, so.
Yep, thanks for doing that, looking into it, because I really think it'd be beautiful down there that way, but I also think conservatively it'd be good. to
Right,
do it.
and since we are, you know, the festival was held down there this year, and it was great, and I think it's gonna be, you know, it's gonna be something to look at that's very nice and that can be maintained.
I agree. I like the idea.
All right, moving on, we're going to, next item, letter D, request for approving ARPA funds for the animal shelter, which is actually resolution number 838. Lieutenant Ryan Wright is here, so, stay there for a second. Need to entertain a motion to read resolution 838.
So move.
Motion, and
Second.
Kevin, second. Rose, Kevin. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign? None.
Resolution 838, a resolution adopting the allocation of American Rescue Plan Act funds for the animal shelter for the city of Jacksonville, Pulaski County, Arkansas.
Entertain, or discuss or entertain? Go ahead.
This is discussion.
Yeah, is there, yeah, go ahead. Any discussion, questions before I'm gonna open it up to Ryan? Go ahead.
I can speak, sir.
Yeah.
So, currently, we're actually working on current improvements right now outside of this, and we wanted to give you kind of, overview of what we're doing there, and what we want to do with the ARPA funds. Since we've gotten over there, the shelter floors, we got them stripped, cleaned, and buffed. Kevin House, his people did an awesome job doing that. We transitioned our cat room from a kennel setup where all the cats were inside of kennels to an open cat room now where the cats are able to socialize and they're a lot happier being able to move around. It's also been a hit with a lot of the folks that have seen it. So we've set up a very small pet pantry at this point. It's to provide assistance for our citizens who need help caring for their pets. We transitioned the previous shelter manager office to a community office where the manager and the ACOs will be in a community type setting. We're trying to upgrade desk space right now. Kevin's working on that and providing workstations for the animal control officers. The old animal control office, the small little, I call it the closet over there, has been transitioned to a meet and greet room for people to get acquainted with a future pet without being distracted from the ongoing in the lobby area and the dogs barking down the main runs. We're currently putting a monitor up in the lobby to show our current listing of dogs and the events that the animal control officers will be participating in that month. And we're in the process of removing all of our wood-based stands and replacing the metal stands and rollers to prevent the spread of like parvo and things like that. The wood holds the parvo, so we have to get that out of there. What we're wanting to do with the ARPA funds, we want to do a complete renovation of the old building over there. That's that second building on the right side. We want to remove all interior walls. We want to level all those floors out to where they're level, and we want to do a pest control solutions for the building, bomb it, and get all the pests out of there. We want to rebuild the rooms with a modern aesthetic type of metal walls. This will facilitate cleaning and sanitation and prevent the spread of disease and sickness. In the front lobby area of the old building, we're wanting to put a couple spaces up there for meet and greet rooms for people to come in with their dog, so we can have them meet another animal over there without being distracted by the dogs in the main runs. We want to place a room off that lobby to be designated as the pet pantry, a larger room for food storage and stuff like that. It also provides a private meeting space to meet with the citizen to qualify them and assess their needs. That way they're not sitting out there in front of people in the lobby asking for food and everything else. It kind of gives them a private space to sit away so people can ask and not be ashamed of it. The back area, we're still going to try to include the 9 kennels and not lose any kennel space. These will be used for holding court case animals and bite case or dangerous animals. That way they're away from the public and people can't stick their hands in there and get bit and things like that. We want to do an intake room for the animal control officer to come in through the back. The intake room will be used, it'll include storage for the intake medications, so every animal's vaccinated when it comes in the shelter. And then for their initial setup, as well as a setup there for a behavior assessment, so if there's a problem animal inside the shelter, we can assess its behavior and see what we can do to fix it. We want to set up a vet and surgery room to facilitate on-site spay and neuter instead of sending the dogs and cats out to get spayed and neutered at a vet. We'll have the vet come in once a week. That's our goal, is to have them come in and do spay and neuter and minor procedures that need to be done. We're wanting to do a separate quarantine room for both cats and dogs. We're wanting a laundry and bathing room with a modern metal grooming bath instead of the old tub they have over there. And then to have a heavy-duty washer and dryer in there for all the stuff they're having to clean all the time. And then we intend to put a storage room for blankets, cleaning supplies, and bathing supplies for the animals. So.
I have I
Lieutenant,
have a question. How
Yes,
many
ma'am.
more kennels will this provide?
So it's not going to provide any more kennels. As of today, for the first time since January of 2022, we are under capacity. So we actually have 6 kennels open for the dogs right now, and no dogs have been euthanized.
Are we gonna have enough, an area to keep all of them inside when it's hot?
So that's the goal. So as long as we keep doing what we're doing, the girls over there are doing a fantastic job getting rescues to pull. Citizens have stepped up and adopted. The social media presence has increased, and I think all of that is benefiting and getting the animals out there. And they've quit bringing in as many animals. We've made some changes on that as well. So
The old part that he's talking about has a bunch of junk, clutter, taking up space, and they've started cleaning that out now. We have a trash truck over there they loaned us. We're getting rid of stuff that was donated a couple of years ago that'll never be used. And we're gonna have to bomb that building, because all that blankets and towels and stuff is just been sitting there for years. And there's a roach problem in that building and stuff that we're gonna get rid of. We're gonna tear all the walls out, clean it out, and then redo it, clean all the junk, clutter. And so that in itself will make some room in case we have to bring them in, if we get overcrowded, bring them in from outside and not have to put the heaters on like last time. Use generators, they'll have room to do it indoors.
Chief, some of those
Well,
things
we don't want to, we don't have to.
some of that stuff you just mentioned, you're doing it in-house, it just.
The cleaning is, the ARPA money will be used by Kevin House's maintenance people are gonna do the work.
Okay, so that is.
The money will be used for the materials and any demolition we need.
If, for those of you who may not have heard, or this is a total, basically gut job of that original building that was the original animal shelter. It's a metal building, and it will be taking out everything on the inside. So it'll be external walls and metal beams, and then a rebuild. So it'll be like a brand new building, inside of that existing shell.
Put the animals somewhere while we do this renovation.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Right now, like I said, we're at 6 under capacity. That room holds 9. So while that renovation is being done, as long as we stay under capacity, we should be able to house the animals on those outside runs. It's not going to be too hot. The weather's starting to change. It's getting cooler. So during that renovation, we can house the animals outside. Or if we have empty kennels on the inside main runs, then we can move them over there.
Do we have a time frame?
The cleaning we're doing now, the ARPA money as soon as we get it, and Kevin can get his crews on that. I want to get that done as soon as possible. I would like this year. I'm not sure what the mayor's goal is. I'd like that done this year because I have longer term goals for next year, which are programs and bringing in the vets and the low cost spay neuter clinics and stuff like that. That's long term plans, but I need that building finished as soon as possible.
Yeah, all those programs that the chief's talking about really are dependent upon having the appropriate space.
Yeah, and a facility.
We can't do it for how we're set up right now.
The surgical room and stuff like that, we're gonna need that.
Chief, Lieutenant Wright, so hopefully in this, I think Jeff and I had talked about it one time before, we're gonna be able to get the area behind it
So,
flattened out, straightened out, get fences up so we can let the dogs run out there. 'Cause
oh,
we get
in the,
the old shooting range back behind the
yeah,
building, because
They have, I don't know where they're at on that. That was, some other people talking about Home Depot was gonna come in and donate the fence.
Right.
What we'd really, go ahead then.
Christine just informed me today that she was, from Jafota, said that she was awarded a $4,000 grant from Home Depot. We're discussing right now. Fencing in that back range, at this point, just from me being over there, that's gonna be a waste of space and money at this point. You've got a whole run on the right side that is humongous that can be broken down before we have to worry about going back there.
There's trees, and the one they have now is just an open area.
Yeah.
I'd rather divide that off and make, separate places to put dogs in separate runs in there. It'd still be big. It's humongous, and it has trees for shade.
Okay, well, I'm
not super thrilled about the old range, just because
Yeah.
we don't need another one.
I just want them to have an area where they can let them go if they're
Oh, yeah.
walking up.
Well, they have one now. It's just, one big open
Okay,
area.
because she said they didn't have a place to let them go, and you
Yeah.
get one side of everything, just so you know, so I'm
Yeah,
just
they
asking.
they
But
do.
I think that with the grant she's got, like you're saying, in the money, my thing would be, I think we spend $800,000 with a fence company at the ballpark. I think they ought to be able to help us and donate
And-
some funds
Yeah,
and stuff.
like Home Depot's already, I think, got approved to do that.
Yeah,
I
because
think.
we spent a lot of money on fencing this year.
Yeah.
And the company did a ton of it, so I would think they would be willing to help and send somebody out if we needed someone to
And-
help too.
You could divide that into 6 or
Yeah.
8 different runs out there, and that way you could put more dogs out there and get more
Yeah,
get them all
bring more
exercise. So there's
Right.
plenty of space out there for
Yeah,
that.
okay.
Any other questions or
Mayor.
discussion?
Yes.
Councilmember Raines?
So do we have a estimate for the ARPA renovations?
Yeah, can I?
Go ahead.
talk? Yes, we do. With this, for the work that's big, we're asking for $100,000. Now, I will say this, within the ARPA funds last year, the money that was set aside for the fountain project was about $120,000, which we're not using all of that. We're only using a portion of, which still leaves a balance roughly of around $80,000, $70,000, $80,000. We're not going to be touching any of that. That is still going to remain there. When Kevin House had the work done for the fields and so forth, a lot of that ARPA money, those projects finished, they actually, 2 of them came in well under budget to the tune of $215,000. So we still have 215 that we did not know. It had been accounted for, but it came back in under, so that is there. So this will come from that. So we will still have the balance of that our initial amount plus the remaining 115,000. That was kind of a surprise to us. So we still have a few more dollars to work from for other projects following.
I was gonna ask you, to Adam, have we received any of our big money from the government yet on all our overflow on our landfills?
Oh, on our FEMA submission?
Yeah.
We're nearing completion of our FEMA submission. So we have submitted all the debris projects.
Yes, sir.
And they've all went through their various stages. So the next phase of that is actually get the money back, which will be handled by ADEM. So there's about $1 million there.
That's what I'm wanting to get back.
That we're getting now some of that we've spent, some on contractors and stuff, but it will kind of replenish some of the coffers that we've had to pay.
Yeah.
We were looking at the sanitation budget earlier. We've had to pay somewhere in the neighborhood of $400,000 towards tipping fees, the landfill, that, we gotta replenish our budget. But
Exactly. Well,
the 75% portion,
yes, sir.
I am happy to report, it looks like we have the volunteer hours to make the city's match on that. So even the 75% portion, we're technically not coming up with, the citizens have stepped up, the volunteer organizations have stepped up and matched their portion, which will basically, for dollar, we get back in FEMA.
Right. That's what I was wanting, because that's a big expense, and we spend the money, so we budget it, we didn't have enough, but with that, we're supposed to get back. But money coming back and not having it does affect us. But I think we've done a good job, a great job with what we've seen, picked up tons of debris and everything, continue to do it, and everyone's done a great job.
Let me bring us back to the shelter here, so we can finish this, without moving on to tornado stuff, sir. Oh, no, yeah, we haven't finished it yet. Any other questions or discussion? If not, entertain a motion to approve and adopt resolution
Second.
838. Motion and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed likewise? There are none, so that passes. Final item under general business. Cheryl, is there a cart? If you want to come forward, she has a presentation. We are about to enter budget season.
Okay. Yeah. Since there's new council members on the board, I wanted to kind of like give an overview of the budget process so that we all have an understanding of the process. Let's see. I don't know if y'all can see this or not. The slides were also in your packets. Oh, it popped up there now. Okay. Oh. Let me go back. Okay. Okay. The general fund and street funds have balanced budgets. And by being balanced, that means that whenever we make out the budget, we make sure that what we estimate for the revenues equals the amount that we estimate for expenditures. The sanitation fund, the shooting range, and the EMS, they operate like a business, and their revenues and expenditures do not have to balance. And so some years on our budget, it looks like we're going to get more revenue than what we're going to have expenditures, and then in others, it's going to look like we've got more expenditures than what we have revenues, and that's to let you know that that's okay. Okay, the next one is the budget timeline. Okay, the current end of the year projections, that's what we're projecting to be at the end of 2023. We're actually doing that now, and so because we got a little late start, but and also this month we're also doing the estimates of the revenues for 2024, and the departments are also working on their 2024 request for the 24 budget, and so that's what they're working on now. The departments individually, they internally start working on their budgets usually in August. So at the end of September, at the beginning of October, I'm asking for their requests to be turned in, and then we start having the budget meetings in October. And then the preliminary budget presentation is presented to City Council in November, and then the recommended budget is presented in December to be voted on. And so that's the timeline that we usually follow. Because we try to pass the budget before January 1st so that we start the brand new year with the brand new budget.
Does it have to be passed?
It does not have to be passed. The law states that we have until the end of February to actually pass it, but we try to get it passed before the beginning of the year.
If it goes to February, what is that like for you?
If it goes to February, then what we have to do is we have to extend the current budget to cover that time frame. And so it makes it a little bit difficult. Okay, and in the budget, reoccurring costs make up 90% of the general fund budget on an average. And in the reoccurring costs, that includes personnel costs, utilities, maintenance agreements, building insurance, and vehicle insurance. And then I put a little chart in here showing the general fund budget by category. And I gave the actual figures for 2021 and 2022, and then the budgeted for 2023 because the 2023 isn't over with yet. And so you can see that on the personnel cost for the 2023 budget, we had increased it up to 73% of the budget. So we're trying to take care of our employees. At the same time, we're still trying to move forward on making improvements throughout the city also. And so so that shows the breakdown by category with personnel costs, contract services, supplies and materials, capital outlay, and other. And then the next slide is what all is included in personnel costs, since it's the largest portion of it. That includes the salaries, the overtime and part-time wages. It includes the retirement cost, which the city pays APRS 15.32% and a lot fee 24.5% of the employees' wages for retirements for our employees. The city also pays 82% of the premiums for the health insurance cost. And we also pay payroll taxes and FICA, and then workers' comp, unemployment, and tuition reimbursement. Okay, and in the pay scale, non-uniformed employees, every position has a starting rate or salary. And when the budget permits, annual raises ensure employees with longevity earn more than new hires. And then the police are the same as non-uniformed, and they also get increases after 1 year, 3 years, and 6 years. And if the new hire is already certified, they get $2,500 after completion of FTO, and another $2,500 after the first year. On the fire department, they're the same as the non-uniform, and they also get increases after 1 year, 3 years, and 6 years. And then in conclusion, I just want to remind everyone that it takes all departments to run the city, and so in the budget process, we strive to allocate resources in a manner that is beneficial to the health and well-being of the citizens of Jacksonville. And that's my presentation.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Urkel while she's here? Thank you, Cheryl.
All right,
Very
you're
good,
welcome.
thanks, Cheryl.
All right, you're welcome. Thank you.
Any new business or old? I've got one announcement for y'all. Arkansas Municipal League, the winter conference registration is now open. The dates are January 10th through the 12th, so if you are interested in attending that, you can contact Michelle in my office and we'll get you registered for that. But that is the January 10th through the 12th. If
Old business, Jeff, just so everyone knows, after a couple weeks ago, the meeting where we wanted to get a downtown committee put back together, and that I've been working on that, and a lot of people after that meeting contacted me. So I will present to you probably at the next meeting those that are probably going to be on that committee to start, and we're going to have a meeting, and we'll let y'all know who it is, and we'll come up with some ideas and some projects that we think will help the city grow, and then y'all will be able to look at them and see which ones you like and make sure we can complete some of them. What I was told what I was told by some of the people on it is we talked about doing this, and I know everybody here is for that, but if we're going to do something, let's make sure that we get the backing of the city council so we can complete some of it. Doing all the work and the preliminary work and all the effort, and then us not doing anything to make it happen doesn't help any of us. And I think it's time that we better the city and decide to do something somewhere. And I don't know what they want to do. They talk downtown with Mary's Fountain. There's been a lot of things, but I'd like to see some things done. I think it was fabulous when we moved downtown for the festival on Labor Day weekend. I think everybody had a great time down there. So with that said, I appreciate everybody's help and support, and I'm glad everyone has ideas and opinions that you can bring, and that's what it's all about. Nobody's going to agree with everybody, but if we can all work together, we can get things done. So I'll bring that to you as soon as I find out. I put it out there and you're gonna be involved, Jeff, as you know, but I don't know who they are completely.
Entertain a motion to adjourn.
I have a question real fast.
Oh, go ahead.
I was asked by a citizen about our attendance, if you're appointed or elected. Are there rules on how many times you can miss, or?
No, ma'am.
Mm-mm. No,
Should
unfortunately.
that be addressed?
It,
Can't be.
yeah,
We're elected for 4 years.
so,
Because I know a lot of times you're appointed and then people don't show up to the appointed.
mhm.
Appointed is different than elected, but appointed you can make rules for the different commissions and boards.
Yeah, just, example, like AMP Commission, they could establish, or they could put parameters in place there. If you've missed so many, then you're replaced, so, but,
They do have
and,
parameters.
elected officials, it doesn't work that way. Okay, entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
All right, we're adjourned.